family, so I wanted to kind of make a video 6 months out since I've had Saylor, kind of just talk about what was really hard then, kind of where I'm at now, just what's happening and how things have changed for me, or not really changed that much too. I kind of like got this idea. I actually saw a new therapist who specializes in grief and bereavement, like all that. So I kind of got, she had asked me a question and she kind of asked me like, what was the hardest thing initially at the beginning? Besides everything, obviously, but you know, like she kind of wanted me to like pinpoint something, and then she kind of asked like, what's the hardest thing now? So I did, you know, I guess like I didn't have a lot of time to think of it in that moment, but I definitely, my answer to her kind of was in the beginning, minus everything, you know, the whole loss. Ooh, that bird. It was a lot more, which I feel like sounds really stupid and I don't know, like stuck up almost, or I don't, that's not the right word, but kind of along that lines where, because they're, at the end of the day, they're just material items. But I really struggled with like her room and all those items that I bought, all the clothes I bought her, because I love shopping and, you know, like that's where I put a lot of my heart in picking out certain things for her and all that. So, oh, that bird, oh my god. I feel like the hardest thing for me was a lot of the material items of just like all the clothes that I had already like folded and put away, and all the items I bought for her room, like finding the color yellow, like all those specific stuff, all the sunflower decorations, a brand new bassinet to have her sleep in next to my bed. I went out of my way and bought 3 like slim fit car seats so that the 3 kids could actually fit in the car that I had at the time. And let's see what else. It was just like all that stuff that just like, I just put so much thought and effort into it, that to sit and realize like suddenly it was like about to be used and then now just nothing, and like this room just sits empty, and it was, you know, it's a baby nursery and it should be filled and it's not. So that was really difficult for me in the beginning, and it still is now, but it was, but now it's like I'm finding ways to utilize it. You know, we made the wall for her with all her decorations, or I put the bins down in the playroom and I'll probably put the lamps there too, you know, like just trying to utilize all that stuff. And so I'm still like finding ways to do that. And I mean, at the end of the day, they're just items. Like that's not my biggest concern. My biggest concern is I wish she was here. Like the hardest part is that she's not here. But I'd have to say too, another really difficult part at the beginning was, it would make me really, which it all still holds true now. You know, I'll get to what really is hard right now, but just because these things were harder in the beginning doesn't mean that they're not hard now still. In the beginning, it was also really hard to like think of all the things that Saylor's never going to be able to do. Like Saylor's never going to be able to go to Disney World. Saylor's never going to be able to swim in our swimming pool. Saylor's never going to get to go to school. Saylor's never going to get to drive a car. She's never going to get to graduate high school. Like she's never going to get married, have kids. A lot of that hurt at the beginning too, was like not only like my sadness as like her mom not being able to raise her and be a mom to her like in the living, but just a lot of, I feel bad for her. Like I feel bad for she's missing out on all that stuff. Like that's a lot, and it sucks. And just also thinking about like her siblings, and that hurts too. You know, that they're missing out. She's missing out on her brother and sister, and her brother and sister are missing out on her. So that was really, that weighed heavy on my mind then at the beginning a lot. The things that are harder now, I would have to say, is when it comes to the material items, it's sometimes more looking at them and realizing, like, certain clothes, she would have already outgrown that. Like, that should already be, like, spit up on, used, worn. All the diapers, that should already be used and worn. I have a cat in my lap now, so it's icky. Just thinking about how all that stuff should already have been used, a lot of it. Like, I should be, like, going through clothes, you know, because she's moving up to the next size, stuff like that. Like, seeing on social media other people who had babies, like, around the same time, and, like, looking at them and being like, oh, that's how old she would be. That's what she would be doing. Like, would she be sitting up, rolling over? Would we be starting solid food? Like, what, you know, would we be doing? Or, you know, she would be, her personality would be starting to really come out. And, you know, 6 months is, like, one of my favorite ages for a baby, because I feel like that's when they really, like, their personality really starts to blossom and show. And so it just, that's really hard, of, like, realizing, like, she'd be half a year old. Thing that I have found really difficult lately is the more time that passes means that it's been that long since I've seen Saylor, since I've held her. So that's really difficult, is feeling like I'm getting, like, well, the best way I can put it is that I'm physically getting further and further away from touching her, feeling her, holding her, because I don't feel that way. We talk about Saylor every day in this house. You know, she's all over the house, and whether it's just something yellow, a sunflower, whatever it might be, she's all over this house. So it's not that I feel further away from her spiritually or emotionally, it's just physically, as the more time that passes means that now it hasn't been 5 months since I held her, it's been 6 months. So that's very difficult for me, is getting so far away from that. And time doesn't slow down, there's no stopping it. It's just each day is further and further away from the last time I held her. So yeah, that's been a difficult thing to process. I can't believe it's been half a year. In some ways it feels like yesterday, in some ways it feels like 2 years ago. It's just, it's still heavy, it's still a lot. You know, we don't really, like, have plans to do anything for, like, a half birthday. We have something big going on that day that's exciting, bittersweet, but, yeah, Winter is always talking about Saylor's birthday party. My mom got her a dress from Walmart, and Winter was like, that's the one I'm wearing for Saylor's birthday. Like, you know, we gotta get her a sunflower cake, and so we talk about her birthday a lot. But, yeah, you know, I feel as though, like, I've connected a lot with Saylor through, like, nature and, like, being outside, but, you know, living in Illinois, it is freezing cold all these months, but I feel like I've, like, found Saylor in other ways. I feel like her presence is just always around us. I would like to get Winter to, like, kind of sit down and make a video with me, kind of, like, but, you know, I don't want to push her outside of, like, her comfort zone with things, but she's had a lot more grief as time has passed, a lot of instances in regards to Saylor, so that's definitely been a challenge. I think that, you know, 6 months later, I think that parenting after loss is almost harder, because I think that Winter's more in tune with it, and it's tough. It's a lot. It is heartbreaking to watch, you know, one of your babies cry because they're missing their sister. And, you know, I think it's really easy to dismiss children and think that they don't feel these things, or they can't really fully grasp the concept. So it's, like, easy just to be like, she doesn't really get it. You know, that's such an easy thing to say. You know, same with Miles. I think he doesn't really get it. But I'm sure grief will come in its own time with him as well, as, you know, he gets older. But with Winter, it's been a lot. It's been a challenge, and my heart just breaks for her. It's so difficult. Like, I feel like the both of us are just constantly crying, and, you know, I'm glad she's expressing it. I do want to take her to her own therapy for it, because I think that would be helpful for her. She's got a lot of death anxiety lately, not just in regards to Saylor, but in regards to other people. She has a lot of questions, and so it's just heavy for a little one, and I hate that she has to carry this with her. I never wanted that for her. My brother passed when I was 14, and that was hard, but, you know, well, she was 4 at the time, but to be a 5-year-old now carrying such a burden, it's heavy, and it doesn't go away, and that's the thing, is it's with her forever. Yeah, every day is still just a lot of waves of emotion. Some days I'm totally fine, other days are so hard I can't stop crying. I expect it to be that way for a good while. I don't, you know, it'll be interesting to see where I'll be 6 months from now, a year out. I dread that in a way, because once again, it's so far since the last time I got to hold her and love her physically. Socially, I would say socially, I still don't see many people. I have like no motivation to hang out with people, but I think that's because like in like life's hardest time, you kind of really realize like who's there for you and who isn't, and who's a true friend and who's not. And not only that, but you realize like how valuable time is to you, and I prefer just to be at home. Like, I prefer to spend my time with my kids, my family, my husband. That's who I prefer my time to be with, and I don't have energy to just put into other people just to have kind of superficial relationships. I'm just not with it anymore. And yeah, some people just treat me really differently. I feel like they ignore what's happened to me. I think as more time passes, like, the more people expect you just kind of to be like further away from it and normal, so to speak. So yeah, not many really check in. I do feel like a lot of the times it really is the people who surprise you, like, not the ones who are closest to you, like the ones who you thought were closest to you. Like, they don't really step up in the ways that you think they would, but it's just like the most random people at times that really step in and actually truly ask, like, how are you doing, or mention Saylor's name, or that they were thinking about me or her, and, you know, they just like actually genuinely mean it, not just like, oh, how are you? Like, it's just, ugh. You know, relationships with anybody is just hard in life in general, let alone after you've lost a baby, and it changes a lot, and I don't really mind it. I'm not, like I said, I put my time with those who matter the most to me. I started working again in January. It's like very, very part-time, but so I'm proud of myself that every day I have to get out of bed. I have to get Winter off to school. I have to feed kids lunch. I have to get them dressed. I have to do all that. I have to go to work. Like, I have to show up. I have to put a little effort in and stay busy. And it's good for me. And the people I work with know about Saylor. So I feel like they don't treat me differently. Like, they're not like tiptoeing around me, but like obviously they're not like every day like, oh my god, Saylor, how are you? But like I can talk about her if I want to, so that's kind of nice. I give myself credit for doing the best that I can most days, but really every day I get out of bed and I get up and I go and I do it, and you know, I do that mostly for the 2 kids that I have here that I have to take care of, but in some ways I also do that for Saylor, because if she was here I wouldn't just get to stay in bed and have a pity party for myself. Like I'd still have to get up and take care of her, so in some ways I do that for her too. Like I have to, you know, they say life is for the living, and I have to participate in that and find ways to honor her. Some like cube bin things that were in here that were yellow, and it had all her clothes and blankets and stuff like that. And the other day I kind of reorganized and redid the playroom, so I put those down there because whatever baby's next, I don't think I'm going to go with the color yellow. So I kind of figured it would be like a good way to incorporate her into the playroom as well. I also have 2 of these lamps that I think I might put in there as well. My mom said you could spray paint it and change the shade, but I don't know, I kind of like it, and maybe just put it in the playroom too. It didn't bother me like moving the cubes out of here. Like I'm happy to see them like downstairs, because it just like feels like a little piece of hers like with us there. So I do like that. I think the only thing that bothered me was when I was going through the cubes themselves and like kind of finding things that I almost had like forgotten about, like sheets that I had bought for her, or blankets, and just, you know, just seeing all that, I kind of had a moment. These eggs, just so sweet. Thank you so much for watching this, and be sure to subscribe to my channel. I plan to keep making more videos, and give the video a thumbs up, leave a comment, anything. I love interacting with people. All the comments are just so sweet. They always just make my day, and I can't believe like how many people have reached out to me just via comments. It's actually like truly incredible, and I love, you know, I just love hearing from anybody, so thank you so much.